Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, host Imperial Dana, featuring here 1 vs 1 on Pripyat Winter. Yes, indeed, back on Pripyat, we shall be watching Ironroman fighting for the Soviet Union for the 115th Rifle Division, going up against Warboss of the Panther Grenadier Division Feldherrn Halle. A 1 vs 1 here shall be taking place. Ironroman, infamous for his play in the first Company of Heroes using the British, he was not exactly what you'd call popular. Let's see how he shall fare without staghounds, kangaroos or trenches. Shall he survive or shall he perish? Pioneers already, of course, out, taking points. Infantry company out for Warboss and getting the first Grenadier squad right there. Ironroman seems to be on a more northbound path, whereas, of course, we see Warboss going south. Of course, that's the more sensible bits, and of course, the resources tend to be for the eastern player more northwards, whereas, for the western player southwards. And of course, on this map, the resources are much more split like that, and of course the centre is then occupied by the victory points and the watchtower, which looks a bit, I think, tilted. Or is it just the rest of the territory which sort of looks a bit like something and not quite right? But there we go, MG42 team following up there on Warboss's Grenadiers. 4 men are locking a heavy machine gun, or lugging, blah, never mind, carrying it through the deep snow. Pioneers continuing the eastbound path. Might be he's rushing straight for the fuel, ignoring the munitions, or perhaps Warboss has something else in mind. Grenadier squad following up there. Ironroman seemingly securing everything right around in this small island before even heading northwards. That's definitely slightly interesting. Not what you usually see, I believe. Securing the missions there. Ironroman's combat engineers are being down south.
Grenadier squad is ready.
Victory points being secured. All quiet at the moment. Not a single engagement as of yet. And looks like that might change. Conscripts engaging the Grenadiers by the northern victory point. Well, northernmost victory point. Already looks like he's got Molotovs out, lobbing it straight after the Grenadiers. Fritz goes down.
We are losing a sector.
MG element ready.
MG42 quickly following up there. Pioneers pulling back though as Russian infantry advances up. Another Grenadier squad looks like might try to flank. And there go the MG42 fires away at the conscripts, suppressing them very swiftly and deftly. The Grenadiers slowly close in, and there we go, conscripts on the right, in fact running straight past the MG42. This could result in some nasty unwarranted casualties. Well, not unwarranted, but perhaps a bit unwanted. South though looks to be currently falling to the Soviet Union, as the Pioneers clearly don't have the firepower to take them on. Also looks like we are seeing Warboss already taking up there within the first few minutes.
We can now build light mechanized infantry.
MG42 swiftly advancing up the hill, while the infantry secures the nearby points, then probably proceeds to follow up to support the MG42 to ensure it doesn't get overwhelmed by Soviet infantry. There we go, a rather far-flung position, another Pioneer squad on the way there for Warboss, and there we go, the conscripts running but straight into the MG42, getting suppressed. And there we go, serious losses being inflicted on the conscripts, while the Pioneers down south are doing their best to hold the Soviet forces away, but the fuel and the munitions has fallen to Ironroman. Grenadiers making their way through the snow, and there we go, second Pioneer squad appears. No buildings as of yet for Ironroman. Looks like he's training more and more conscripts, about 4 squads of them.
You want something?
And the Pioneers were forced to abandon the south in the face of Ironroman's tenacious assault.
Yeah.
We are ready for action. Resistance! Taking fire!
And there go Grenadiers, meaning finding themselves under assault again as conscripts advance up. These Grenadiers might be forced to retreat. A Molotov, but a bit too slow there, Yuri.
Our sector. You have
not fast enough. Conscripts are not doing too well, and there go the MG42. Quickly seals the deal with a swift and vicious burst. It looks like these conscripts have been a bit forgotten, and like to make a nice company half track on the way. And considering all the munitions that Warboss has, it's likely going to be a flamethrower half track. So a bit of a flamethrower half track rush there from Warboss, and currently looks like that Mr. Ironroman will be a bit unprepared for that, since he's absolutely nothing in the anti-tank department from what I can see, possibly at most anti-tank grenades.
Half track has arrived.
Which would definitely not be quite enough, in particular if he does, but still would be able to sort of slow down the half track by more time to get something. But if he doesn't even have that, he's going to be in dire straits. And we also see a Panzer Grenadier squad on the way there for the Panzer Grenadier Division Feldherrnhalle.
Grenadiers. Enemy troops attacking.
Coleman is trying to hold up south. Half track rushes ahead. There we go. Panzer Grenadier squad arrived halfway there towards the flamethrower upgrade, and thus the Flammwagen. Conscripts still seem to have forgotten, and there we go. Flamethrowers equipped. And conscripts being burned up alive. And there we go. Ironroman is a bit of trouble. We do see a support weapon company going up, but he's going to be some time out from it, and that half track is going to have free reign against Ironroman's positions. In theory, he could rush straight into his base and just burn away all of Ironroman and his sins from the first game in a sea of flames. Conscripts look like they actually managed to make some gains in the north once more, although the MG42 is still remaining up here, but at the same time in a position that will result in ultimately dying of the cold. Looks like Boris got stuck in the half track. Well, what remained of Boris got stuck in the half track. Anyways. Might manage a flank here. Does he get off the Molotov? Does he burn the MG42 crew, or does he instead suffer through the MG42 and his support gunners with their MP40s? Looks like the conscripts will not make it out of there alive. We do see... No. Apparently this... And there we go. The conscripts were dead. Ironroman's assault failed. Apparently he lost all courage, or perhaps he actually accidentally retreated the wrong squad. That can happen. In which case, I am certainly... Oh, there we go. Commie is getting burned away. Half track promoted. Second squad of Panzer Gunners arriving right there for Warboss, giving quite an infantry compliment.
German territory increases.
Ironroman's options are looking a bit limited at the moment, since Warboss has got all the fuel locked down. This MG42 is proving to be most tenacious and most annoying. But looks like a mortar crew is being summoned forth to deal with, and also looks like we are seeing Warboss immediately mining down the entire area with S-mines and a telemine. He is definitely not taking any chances against Ironroman down south. He's clearly not going to be placing down most of his force here, so he's going to lay down a, well, rather tough minefield. So in case that Ironroman decides to rush in there down south, he's going to at least be at the most delayed, and if, well, at worst delayed, best really take some heavy losses. So we'll of course have to see how that one works out. Another assault on the MG42 has ended in the tears of many a Soviet soldier as he finds himself bled dry of his tears and his blood and any other precious bodily fluids. Mortar though opening up on the MG crew, and the MG quickly repositions as snow blows up. Rather pretty patterns now go. Combat engineers hit the S-mines field, losing many of their comrades and the flamethrower tank. At the same time, attempting to mine the bridge right here ends in a total failure as Panther Grenadiers charge forward and completely wipe out the combat engineers. Over to Ironroman, molotoving the Panzer Grenadiers, losing what looks like another conscript squad. The Panzer Grenadiers on a roll. The Feldherrn Halleck kicks down this door apparently. And Ironroman is now very low on men. He's down to 2 squads of conscripts, 1 single combat engineer and a mortar. And of course the interesting thing is, of course, he could try and actually deploy smoke and then assault the MG42. That would probably be a much safer and more sensible proposition, but apparently Ironroman doesn't believe much in smoke either way. His conscripts are once more running into some serious problems, so the MG42 continues to be a bane of all things on legs, but apparently slowly dying of the cold. Warboss's Panzer Grenadiers push forward, taking more and more territory away from Ironroman. Down to 2 MG gunners. Another one dies of cold. And looks like he finally abandons the position, realizing that while he might be able to kill more, he'll have the rest die of the cold. And of course he can't afford to lose a veteran to MG42 crew. Conscripts doing what they can, more fire, but the Panzer Grenadiers continue to just lay down a murderous barrage of bullets. And now a counterattack from the Grenadiers up north. Conscripts molotoving, but not quite there. Mortar firing away in support. Except it's firing in support of something else, not the north. Panzer Grenadiers hiding up behind a small structure and some crates, ready to lay down an ambush. And Tank Battalion Command getting their assault off. But Ironroman's definitely taking quite a beating. We're seeing more mines going down here. Warboss taking absolutely no chances with the south.
We built it as ordered. We are now equipped with a flamethrower.
More flamethrowers. Tanks can soon be acquired for the Roman of Iron.
Enemy forces are neutralized.
And the communists moving in once more straight into the murderous fire of the Panzer Grenadiers. And there we go.
Enemy fire!
Combat engineers quickly run off. Running straight though into the machine gun emplacements. Heavy machine gun fire rakes through the Panzer Grenadiers, and in fact might lose an entire squad of Panzer Grenadiers, but there we go. Quickly retreating, assault going up in the north. MG42 still some time away. Mortar firing away, and there we go. The Grenadiers are retreating. Ironroman has finally secured the northern fuel, and he could get a T-34 right now, but we also see the support Panzer Corps. We also see a bunker up, so that's likely going to be a medic bunker, and of course we're likely going to see a Panzer IV, since most people at the moment really don't bother with anything else, since the Panzer IV rather covers it all most of the time. More mines, and of course mining on the ice rather has a high tendency of actually breaking the ice, so if it's something heavy enough that the tiller mine doesn't take it out directly, the ice will break and of course take care of the rest. But Ironroman under a lot of pressure. He needs to get a tank out now. Schnell. Oh, bit too late there. Panzerkampfwagen is out for Warboss. But he has secured the fuel.
Waiting for your command. Replacements have arrived.
And his mortar crew needs some heat. Come on, Ironroman. Tank.
Attempting to capture our territory. Aim fire on this position. Mortar ready for orders.
T-34 swiftly moving up to support the northern push of Warboss.
We have taken it. You have orders?
And there we go.
We are leaving, comrade!
Conscripts need to get away very quickly. And finally getting the tank. There we go, there we go. Pushing towards the centre. And of course we also notice there's been nothing even slightly elaborate in terms of mining at the moment from Ironroman. No mining of the ice, for example, which could have caught the Panzer IV and send that to a watery, icy grave. An anti-tank grenade, though, has damaged the engine of the half-track, which is currently bit 22.
Our unit count is increasing.
That is about what there is.
Engineer standing by.
And demoing the bridge just in case. Bold move as well, I suppose. There we go, the T-34 arrives. Field gun might be an idea to support with as well. Perhaps Maximals and more conscripts. And that half-track is likely going to go down unless that Panther somehow manages to rush its way to that point with the utmost speed.
Rifles ready. Engineers have been coming out.
There we go, mortar round destroys the engine, and there we go, T-34 finishes off.
Desert conditions are imminent.
Panther IV finally arrives, but the T-34 makes it into the safety of the base, and Warboss is not sure what's inside Ironroman's base. We know what's there, but Warboss doesn't, and he doesn't take any chances. But Ironroman needs some field guns, some more things overall. And a Maxim would certainly be a good way. Oh, mining already in the northern bit there. Warboss using his munitions to make things absolutely hellish for the Soviets to attack in, which is definitely one approach. T-34 being pushed forwards. We of course also knowing the shock motor doctrine, giving shock troops, conscript repairs, ISU-152s and all the other good stuff, and tank grenade damaging the engine. T-34 though still in need of repairs. Most desperately so in fact. Pioneers might go down there to the T-34, but the conscripts here need to retreat in the face of the Panther Kampfgruppe, or they will lose. Panzer IV by this stage, a decent tank and certainly superior to the T-34-76. Some people seem to think, oh no, the T-34 is superior. Yes, it was in 1941, this is 1944-45, and by that stage the Panzer IV's gun had higher penetration, thus meaning had a better chance of penetrating the armor, and the armor was overall better as well. Because here's the thing about sloped armor, it's only good to a certain extent. If the caliber of the gun hitting it is too big, the sloped armor effect is considerably less, and that was only 45mm versus a 75mm gun. It's not going to be as fully covering as possible. So those are some of the things to sort of be remembered. Whereas of course the Panzer IV, while it did not have sloped armor, it still had 80mm of it. So things like that are of course important to remember. Looks like the mortar crew was used to rush into here and rushed straight into Warboss's huge minefield down there, completely wiping out Ironroman's mortar crew before there was even a chance of recovering it. Setting off a few of the mines, so that's definitely a good way of doing it, with simply a tank. Though the T-34 is still going to need some repairs eventually. Not that it's actually taking any damage from the S-mines. Also looks like he's straight moved on to the heavy Panzer Corps. I do believe it's time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is that while Ironroman is holding some of the victory points, some of the map, he's not really holding it 50-50. He's taking some losses. We do see some shock troopers out now, which could turn the tide a bit in terms of infantry, but of course problem is he's lacking a bit in the anti-tank department. He's had for quite some time. Much too slow in getting out a field gun, and much too slow also getting out that T-34. Still, he's got something, and I suppose he could charge in and do some serious damage to Warboss, but it needs to be in around the Korean Marine. He needs a minesweeper, by the way. He needs something to clear all these S mines. Otherwise, I mean, that way Warboss will very easily drain out Ironroman without even having to expend manpower doing so. And if you can spend munitions to kill off the opponent's manpower, you should generally always do it, because ultimately munitions is less worth than manpower in that regard. Of course, manpower being the most precious resource. So that is something to consider. Of course, he also needs to get that victory point, and he also needs to consider actually mining up some of the approaches to make it harder for Warboss in return to advance. But again, he needs a minesweeper, and he needs it as soon as possible. He needs more field guns, and he needs to sort of set up a front line and some idea of where he actually wants to go, because currently it seems to be a bit confused at times. For Warboss, it's basically about continuing the pressure, of course being aware that his opponent might try to man. Of course, he doesn't know if Ironroman might do that at all or not, but still always a good thing to take into consideration. Otherwise, you know, preserving his tanks, keeping up the pressure on Ironroman, of course, keeping up the mining again. That's really nice to see some mining going on from a German player in particular, since of course they do cost more, but generally again, when for example comes to the S mine, you in the end do get more bang for your buck, since you get a huge minefield out of it. But let's return to the fighting. Shock troopers marching out there with the submachine guns. And there we go, another S mine. And the S standing for Spreng, which means jumping mine. Basically, we'll jump. Mortar getting recruit, but the Panther might clear it out. There we go, bun grenade. And that was ultimately a waste of manpower right there by Ironroman. A noble endeavour, but ultimately not successful. Panzer 4 getting repaired. Going up there, and Panzer T-34 moving there. Popping back to Warboss. Using the T-34 to clear out more mines. And there we go, a Panther tank arrives. With 80mm of sloped armor.
Is gone. Grenadiers. MG-42 turret is ready.
Warboss setting up for a more slow assault. Not going to commit until he's ready, and also setting up fuel caches now. No doctrine yet though, no doctrine yet. Ironroman also seems to be getting increasingly passive at the moment. Perhaps trying to figure out his options, what he can do, what he can't do. But looks like he might not even have the time, as an armoured assault is going in there from Warboss. Panzer 4 and Panzer 5 on the way. And there goes shock troops coming under fire. And a torrent of machine gun fire also is unleashed. 6 machine guns all in all. At the same time, Korps completing an assault right there. MG-42 setting up inside the watchtower, might get molotoved. There we go. Turning it into a barbecue pit. But the tanks are on the way, and there's no field guns to support because they're all up in the north alongside the tank. Ironroman being very desperate, it seems, to hold his fuel point, his only singular fuel point. And doing his best to clear out the machine gun, which would definitely be a bit of a blow there to Warboss. And there we go, the Veteran 2 MG-42 crew's gone, although we see both Grenadiers have now been equipped with light machine guns. Tanks advancing, Grenadiers quickly following up. An armoured assault there from the Feldherrnhalle. Which in the later stages of the war, like the Hermann Göring and the Großdeutschland, was actually upgraded to an entire corps. In the case of the Großdeutschland, though, that happened by actually attaching another Panzer Grenadier division called the Brandenburger Panzer Grenadier division to it. But yeah, looks like Ironroman is very much focused on the fuel point. Perhaps wants to use it to get the ISU-152, and that way I hope he can break his way through Warboss's defense, and certainly with its range and basically raw power, it would certainly have a good chance of achieving such. Shock troopers running straight into the Panther.
Well done. We have forced the enemy down to 200 points.
Continues his advance as the Panther 4 arrives. More heavy fire is being unleashed upon the shock troops, and they are ultimately forced away. A third field gun arrives right down there for Ironroman.
We need orders. Kampfgruppe is ready. Our drive train is damaged.
And a half track arriving, the Panzerwerfer. And there we go, the combat engineer squad in the end did not survive. And looks like Ironroman is going to be slightly moving forwards here. Field guns moving up, T-34 moving up. Panzerwerfer needs to be a bit careful he doesn't get too close. He might get taken out by one good shot or two.
Yes.
Panzer guns continuing down south. Running the fighting down there. Apparently not worried that Ironroman might deploy armor down there. Or at least not worried that it's going to be a problem. What with the telemines? So certainly a very confident Warboss playing against Ironroman. But that doesn't mean he gets cocky or reckless.
You need something?
Ironroman is heading up for another assault. Looks like Ironroman. Ah, no. Apparently he's pulling away the northern field guns. Otherwise, it could have looked like he might have been trying to make a sort of slow pincer with the field guns pushing from several sides, trying to catch Warboss's tanks in a murderous crossfire of field guns. And that could perhaps have been quite effective, but again looks like he gave up. Still there's a chance as the tanks are a bit spread out, so will Ironroman do so? No, no! Field gun going to get flanked the entire centre position, getting assaulted right there. Two squads of Pentagon moving in, including the veteran 2-1's field gun crews are exposed. Shock troopers getting in the way, or he's trying to, but they don't quite succeed. Oh dear, that was a bit of a mess.
We are losing a sector. Small arm fire.
Definitely not good for the 115th and Ironroman. Panzer 4 coming under fire there. Smoke popping, spearhead doctrine chosen immediately, and fragmentation bombing run on the field guns. Oh dear. And the fragmentation bombing run also managed to stun the crew of the T-34, making an easier target for the Panther. That was... Oh, and a bombing run from Ironroman. Almost has the Panther, almost has the Panther.
Squad has been killed.
But can he do it? And looks like a recon run going in there.
I could smell them before they started.
And shock troopers running straight into a fresh MG42. And the Grenadiers leading a counter-attack, going to see if they can't clear out the troops repairing the T-34.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
And looks like another fragmented bombing run could be called in if necessary. And yes, indeed, it's going to be. Almost clearing out the T-34 in the process. But it's still there, although it has seen better days.
You need something?
Ironroman barely holding on, but just barely. And the Panther 4 all of a sudden can't hit the broadside of a barn. And there we go, the T-34 finally goes down. A blow to Ironroman. Going in there for the point. And more S-mines going off as conscripts, veterans are free, but they're still low on health, so low on men. If only he had minesweepers to clear the way. If only he had. And another Panther on the way.
We have reduced our foes to 100 points.
Looks like Ironroman lost his nerve down south and conducted a full retreat.
Shoots in here.
Panther Gunner is on the move again. And there we go, the ISU 152, the last gambit of Ironroman. Very heavy assault gun based on the IS chassis. There was also the ISU 122, which was a bit more, I think, in a tank destroyer role more specifically. Basically, the Soviets had a lot of heavy equipment in that end. But moving it ahead. There was also an older variant of this called the SU-152. Wasn't quite as powerful. It also had a slightly less powerful gun, and basically it had much thinner armor. Second Panther arriving. Can Ironroman actually manage to do anything with this heavy assault gun? Or will it all be in vain? Machine gun opening up. A bit exposed there. And one direct hit blows up the entire MG42 crew. And we immediately see here that Warboss is pulling away his Panther, but at the same time also calling in a recon run. He's likely going to use it to get an idea of Ironroman's position, what is covering and what his chances are of flanking. And there we go, already sitting in the Panther 4. If he was to blitzkrieg it now, he could flank it, he could get it around. Veterancy 2, Panther moving up. Field gun recruit by some shock troopers. Moving out to the ice though. Panther arrives, there we go, he moved it ahead too far. Ironroman got too desperate. Bombing round looks to be called in, but too late. The ISU 152 is no more. A bit of ice is destroyed. A Panther 4 takes a bit of damage, but ultimately that was not enough. More Panther there for fire, but not achieving that much. And there we go. Game over. A loss to the Soviet units, the 115th Rifle Division. Ironroman made a series of fumbles, which rather allowed Warboss really gain a serious advantage, and Warboss did everything in his power to cement that with mines. Lots and lots of mines, which really made it much more expensive for Ironroman to advance. And again, that's the power of mines. They really can make it much more difficult for your opponents to make a comeback, to make actually return on the field, and Ironroman failed to get minesweepers, which definitely undermined his process. He also played a bit passively at times by the later stage of the game. Of course, the ISU 152 gamble was nice, but I don't think he would have had the victory points to pull it off. And certainly Ironroman also benefited from actually having some mines out in the field, actually doing things to slow down Warboss's advance. That, of course, combined with the fact that Ironroman really was very late to get any sort of serious anti-tank, which allowed Warboss to gain an early advantage with the Flamethrower half-track, really also proved to be disadvantageous and turned out to be a gamble that really paid off for Warboss, because again Ironroman was so slow in getting anything that actually countered it, which allowed him to basically control a considerable part of that with the Flamethrower half-track down south and the MG42 in the north. And of course he also had some problems to solve in that MG42, constantly sending in one squad at a time, and the MG42 was set up in a way that it would really require several squads to overtake it, or for Ironroman to use smoke, which he didn't do. I mean, several things that could have been done better by Ironroman, and ultimately Warboss taking advantage of every single possible thing he could, and dominating the game by the end. So there you go, hope you enjoyed this match, hope you learned something from it. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not send a replay of the game. This is Imperial Dane saying, cheers.